Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump is in battleground North Carolina, trying to take advantage of this moment to try to get any kind of traction he can in battleground states. His campaign event there comes after Barack and Michelle Obama slammed him in their DNC speeches last night, as Jake just played a few moments ago. Our Phil Mattingly is in Asheboro, North Carolina, where Trump just wrapped up his first outdoor rally since the assassination attempt against him last month. Phil, so obviously an important moment in that regard, and it was billed as a national security speech. Did he stick to that?
No, in a word. There were certainly national security elements, and there were key planks from his foreign policy of his first administration that he certainly wanted to wander through and talk about and focus on in this speech about a second administration. But it was also very clear he is paying very close attention to the Democratic convention, or Democratic charade, as he called it repeatedly, including two speakers from last night. Take a listen.
Did you see Barack Hussein Obama last night? Take little shots. He was taking shots at your president. And so was Michelle. You know, they always say, sure, please stick to policy, don't get personal. And yet they're getting personal all night long, these people. Do I still have to stick to policy?
And Aaron, what's interesting is that was actually the types of conversations he appeared to be recounting multiple times throughout the course of his nearly hour-plus speech, talking about how advisors were telling him to stick to policy, as Republican allies have, and that he doesn't want to. He took an informal poll. The crowd said, go with personal attacks, Aaron.
Yeah, interesting. All right, Phil Mattingly, thank you very much. In North Carolina, Jake, as we listen, Stevie Wonder.
Yeah. Oh, look at the timing on that. Nice. Now I don't have to listen to myself instead of Stevie Wonder. Let's talk about this not Stevie Wonder, as much as I would love to just cede the floor to little Stevie. Bakari, let me start with you. Let's just play some of the sound demonstrating how Democrats are talking about the Republican Donald Trump, who seems, from the clip that we just saw from Phil Mattingly in North Carolina, quite perturbed. Quite offended.
I love that SAT word.
So let's run some of the sound.
It was the same old show. The divisiveness and the disrespect.
Going small is petty, it's unhealthy, and quite frankly, it's unpresidential.
We do not need 4 more years of bluster and bumbling and chaos. We have seen that movie before. And we all know that the sequel is usually worse.
Bakari, what do you think?
So I think that most people just hear it and hear the attacks on Trump, but don't see what the campaign is doing or how the shift is actually occurring, because you're seeing a messaging change right now. Mm-hmm. The message is changing from Donald Trump as this kind of threat to democracy, that this is huge villain.
This mighty ogre.
Right. Yeah. And no, he's just a buffoon. Like, he's the guy who is out there just vacuuming at 8:30 in the morning on a Sunday when you're trying to sleep, or the leaf blower, as Barack Obama said. And so they're just kind of, you see the shift in policy, and it's kind of a permission almost for Kamala Harris to adopt this new strategy of not saying that Donald Trump is wrapping his hands around the throat of democracy, but instead, do you want 4 more years of incompetence, of buffoonery, of chaos? And that's what you saw last night. And I thought, and just for a second, I think that there was a lot of pent-up angst and just emotion from Michelle Obama over the past 8-9 years that she was able to let go of last night, because Donald Trump has just picked at them and called them names and taken them to the mud and tried to otherize them and everything else. And so last night, I think she finally said, I'm fed up. And let me tell you who this man really is. And she did it with such honesty that it was decently refreshing.
David Urban, one of the other people that we heard from talking about Donald Trump was his former communications director, press secretary, Stephanie Grisham. And one of the most potentially damaging things she said, although I don't know if it will actually be damaging, is how she described how Donald Trump describes his supporters. Let's roll a clip of that.
I wasn't just a Trump supporter. I was a true believer. I was one of his closest advisors. Behind closed doors, Trump mocks his supporters. He calls them basement dwellers.
Flat out, I'll say this, Jake. I've done more rallies and spent more time with Donald Trump than Stephanie Grisham has at rallies around real people, around those basement dwellers. I've never heard him once refer to anybody in those terms. He takes pictures in kitchens when we're walking through, the Secret Service taking it through, stops, so
That's not your experience.
not my experience at all over the past, since 2016. Never seen it once. So I just flat out dismissed that. And then, listen, what President Obama was talking about and Bakari's talking about, listen, completely paint Donald Trump the way you want to paint him. The fact of the matter is, after 32 flawless days of campaigning, he's still ahead or tied with this campaign in this building, right? So, I heard President Obama say, look, this guy takes a punch and he gets back up, so we're going to be prepared to fight. And he's like, hope is just around the corner. Apparently, he hadn't seen the jobs numbers for today. 818,000 jobs less, revised downward for the first time since 2000, biggest revision downward since 2009. U.S. inflation up to 4.3%, highest since 2021. 5 out of 6 jobs reports, and the past 5 out of 6 job reports revised downward.
Downward, right.
11% of credit card holders are now in default. If Hope's making a comeback, it's not in that jobs report that's out today. And so Bakari and the people in this room, come Monday, the Biden-Harris administration, which she was a part of, are going to have to answer for those things. You can call them a buffoon, you can say whatever, but the American people know those numbers because they feel it in their pocketbooks.
Ana Navarro, you have worked on Republican campaigns. You were an advisor to Florida Governor Jeb Bush. You spoke last night here at the Democratic National Committee's convention. What was it like for you speaking to Democrats?
The whole experience has been surreal. Look, for me, it's been an evolution that started in 2016. I just could not ever support Donald Trump. That was the first time that I voted for a Democrat. I had voted for Republicans my entire life. And I think I wanted to tell folks yesterday, you can go ahead and put country first. You can put values first. You can put principles first. It's okay to vote for somebody of another party. You will survive. Your hand will not fall off. You will not be struck by lightning. And, I understand the struggle that it is for some Republicans because, and I think people particularly who may not be very politically involved don't understand how hard it is to do something for the first time when you think you're breaking loyalty, tradition, habit, everything you've grown up with. But it's okay. It's okay to do it. And so for me, it was all about that. And also, I have a relationship with Joe Biden. I've known him for over 20 years. I have a relationship with Kamala Harris. I've known her for over 7 years. So it's incredibly exciting. And the optimism was electrifying from that podium. You really can see that somehow she's captured lightning in a bottle, and it's just channeling this level of enthusiasm that I haven't felt in a long time from a political anything.
It's interesting, David, one of the strengths of the Democratic Party, and you mentioned yesterday, I think, how Susie Wiles, the Trump campaign manager, noted that she was less impressed with Joe Biden than she was with the Democratic Party per se. The Democratic Party has former presidents, has stars, has rising stars, et cetera. The Republican Party does not have that because Trump has chased a lot of them out of the party or alienated them or attacked them. I mean, there is a living Republican president named George W. Bush who was not welcome. In fact, J.D. Vance's entire speech, he came out to a song that is an anti-George W. Bush song.
Yeah, I mean, what Donald Trump does have, as you said, he chased those figures out of the party, but he has the voters. He has the Republican Party
100%.
That is very much rallied around him. When he fortified the support in the nomination season so quickly, and that sort of catapulted into the general election. When you look at polls, huge percentage, over 90% of his 2020 voters are still with him, and the party is still with him. So he does have that, but you are absolutely right. There is not, he changed the Republican Party and remade it in his image. So there's nobody other shoulders he can sort of rely on to help tell his story.
Yeah, it just seems, it's just glaring that this convention is about the Democratic Party, and that convention was about Donald Trump. It seems to me.
I would just say real quickly, Jake, that Republican Party, though, was losing, right? We were losing races. We hadn't won Pennsylvania for 30 years with that
Y'all only
Republican
won
Party.
one race.
But you know something, that I don't think this convention is about the party. It's also about the voters and about the people. And I think that that part of that lightning in a bottle Kamala Harris has captured in the last 30-some days is because it's organic. And it's coming from the young people doing meetings. This is not the campaign doing it. It's the young people, it's the people out there who've taken lead in this campaign.